Bitcoin. So interesting. $92,000 right now, and it's been dropping steadily. So just passed the death cross 2 days ago, I
Mhm.
Yep.
think. So Bitcoin is interesting if you really think about it, because it's the only investment that we actually know what's going to happen.
Tell me more.
Oh, because it has, like, if you follow history of the Bitcoin, it has 4-year cycles, right? So you can, like, as an exercise, anybody at home, you can ask ChatGPT the 4-year cycles of Bitcoin, when the next bear market will come, previous bear market. So it works in cycles. Now, anything can happen in the future, but it's always repeated the same cycle.
Hmm.
Like, no other investment has ever done that. Like, you can't say, okay, we know that Nvidia is gonna do good for 4 years and it's gonna be flat for 2 years and it's gonna spike. We know that Bitcoin works in a 4-year cycle. It drops very drastically, almost 70 to 80% previously. That's what it has done. Um, Follows the halving. So, like, even if you follow it, like, the bear market is supposed to start next year. But some say the bear market has already started, which would be an early start. But it was going to start. There's a almost 100% chance that Bitcoin is going to drop drastically next year if you follow what historically has happened. So everybody knows. Well, if you study, everybody knows that that Bitcoin is going to drop. Like, that's kind of like a cheat code almost, if you really think about it, because we know what's going to happen. Now, the variables is exactly when it will drop, exactly how much it will drop.
I can tell you that, but we're a team. Come on.
So
Maybe next week.
so now the question is, like, okay, is this the start of the, or are we already in the bear market, or is this a short term reset, and then we're going to push higher at the end of the year, and then next year it's going to fall, but it's going to fall. And I asked ChatGPT just to kind of get ChatGPT's perspective on it, and, like, how it's supposed to fall following traditional Bitcoins is it's supposed to go to 30 or 40,000, because that's 70 to 75% drop. That's what it has done historically, but most people don't think that it'll fall that far because of institutional backing now that it didn't have before.
Hmm.
So the institutional backing up will have it around 50, 60,000. What it'll drop to. But no matter what, how you look at it, it's gonna drop. But it's already been dropping. So now everybody, it's a panic, because um it's down pretty heavily. And then all the Bitcoin related stocks, we'll talk about that, MicroStrategy and a few others, those are down. And then, of course, since Bitcoin is down, the ETFs are down. And then whenever Bitcoin goes down, then the altcoin market goes down also. So the altcoins are down, XRP and Solana and all of that. So now the main question is, now we know that Bitcoin is going to have a bear market.
Hmm.
Is this the bear market? Because if this is the bear market, then the intelligent thing to do would just be to wait. Because if this is the bear market, 90,000 is not a good price to buy, because it's going to go lower than 90,000. So the only question now is, are we in a bear market? And if we are in a bear market, and bear markets for crypto usually last, that's another thing. We know how long the bear market lasts, 12 to 18 months. So it's not a short run. Once the bear market hits, we're looking at, like, 2027, end of 2027, for a full recover to all-time high. But another thing that we do know about Bitcoin is that it always goes up. So
Oh, history has shown us that.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So we know that in 2028 and 2029 is going to be higher than what it is now. But all of these things lead to a pessimistic outlook for Bitcoin for the next foreseeable future, unless we get an end of year pump, and that could potentially change it for the short term. So are we going to get an end of year pump, or are we just got to just ride this out to 2027?
I'll answer both. Meek Mill, Rick Ross, one of my favorite songs. Don't panic. Don't panic. Now's not the time to panic. The notional value, or like true value of what we could get back to the April lows of like 77,453. Last month I did tell you we was going to slide into these 90s. Now is not the time to panic. I understand. There's a lot of people who are saying the 30 and 40,000 price range for Bitcoin. Remember last year or early this year, I said Michael Saylor needs to be very careful because the only thing that I think would drive that price that low is if they want to get him out of that seat that he's in. I think that he has a plan to thwart that regardless, but I don't think we'll get to 30s or 40s. Should you pick up some at 77 and some change? Yes. Prices are in Stock Club. Worst case scenario, I have us going to
say it.
50?
Nah, I'll say my
50
number
range?
and then you agree.
50?
I'll see you with the hoop.
Yeah.
53s?
I had it at 63 to 67.
Yeah, 53, 524. Worst
So
case
you're
scenario.
going lower than that.
But and here's the thing, as an investor, I'm not saying absolutely it will go to for those, you know what I mean? But please write this down. You want to assume the worst case basis first, not the best case. A lot of you are panicking because you bought it last week or 2 weeks ago. You should have bought the majority in April. And in addition, with the halving cycles, some want to be the preeminent force in crypto because they've seen his plan work. I kept saying, I hope that he doesn't become the new Kathy Wood. But when the institution, going back to the program conversation, when they want the strategy and the IP to use it for their own devices, they're going to find a way to do so. Also, too, if we're going to have a cyclical downturn and now we're back to risk on, maybe there will be some flushing out. But I want to be very clear. It's a mistake if you are a believer in it to get rid of it now. Too many people ask, should I sell what I have now and wait to get in, continue to buy? Now, the mistake that I think Saylor made is that he kept buying at any price. The price where you buy an asset matters a hell of a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But worst case scenarios, 53. But if you believe in it, we can have a nice bump. And I think at the right price, definitely at 50s and at 65, the institutional, the Saudi fund, it's too many big players that will absorb the coins at that price.
Yeah, that's why I said I was looking at the charts yesterday. I had it around 67.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you, I'll use the phrase that history shows us rather than kind of what you were saying that we know, because somebody was like, oh, no, history has shown us that in these cycles, specifically what Shadi was saying, it was like there's 4 phases right now. Based on everything we've seen, that we're in phase 3. And so here's some things, some key indicators that you should find in phase 3, which is like 6 to 18 months after halving. Like we saw halving happen last April. So we're right mid cycle, sharp corrections. And I don't know if we've had a sharp one yet. It just feels like a pullback, but consolidation is that next piece. And so that means you'll start to see it move sideways, right? So if it's at 80,
it's definitely sharp. It's 30% drop.
Well, we've seen steep. I'm saying for crypto, we've seen that go down to 70%.
Well, correction is not 70%. That's a fall. That's a collapse.
Well, it's if it's in the definition of correction, it's even still consolidate.
70% is a collapse, though.
Yeah, that's not a correction. That's a collapse.
But that's what I'm saying. We can't even use collapse in terms of Bitcoin because
but that's what it does. Because the correction, it's in correction mode right now.
When I'm saying correction, I don't want to confuse it when we're talking stocks, right? Because Bitcoin, the way that it moves, its volatility is very different.